Prenatal Development by Amanda Dawns. General pregnancy information. The length of a pregnancy is around 40 weeks. There are 3 trimesters in a pregnancy. The first trimester starts at conception and ends at week 12. The second trimester starts at week 12 and ends at week 28. The third trimester starts at week 28 and ends at week 40. Prenatal development is cut up into 3 stages. You have the germinal stage, which starts at conception and ends at the implantation of the embryo in the uterine wall. The embryonic stage, which starts at the implantation of the embryo and ends at week 8. And the fetal stage, which starts at week 8 and ends at week 40. Pregnancy occurs when one of the 300,000 sperm fertilize an egg. After the egg is fertilized, it will travel from the fallopian tube to the female's uterus, and on its travel it will continue to divide and grow. Once the developing embryo is attached to the uterine wall, it will start to release hormones that will prevent the female's next menstrual cycle. Now that the embryo is implanted and the menstrual cycle is stopped, the germinal stage has just been completed. It will continue to grow and develop and is now officially called an embryo. In the uterus, there is a placenta. In the placenta, the baby develops, and it's surrounded by amniotic fluid. Attached to the placenta is an umbilical cord, and the umbilical cord provides nutrients for the baby and is where the baby can release waste. The developing baby is still in its first trimester, but is now in the embryonic stage of its prenatal development. In week 3 of prenatal development, the embryo will develop a brain, a heart, blood cells, a circulatory system, a spinal cord, and a digestive system. Around week 4, the embryo will develop bones, a facial structure, limbs, and a heartbeat. Around week 5, over a month of developing, the embryo will now develop its eyes, its nose, its kidneys, lungs, and digestive tract. The embryo is developing nicely, and it's ending its embryonic stage. During these 2 weeks, the embryo will develop hair follicles, nipples, eyelids, hands, feet, and their digits. Week 8, the embryonic stage is finished, and it is now the beginning of the fetal stage. During week 8, the embryo will enhance its facial features, internal organs will be developed, its brain will start to make its muscles move, its heartbeat is more developed, and the external sex organs begin to form. Week 9 is when the embryo is now developed enough to be called a fetus. The fetus develops a face, a neck, more developed eyelids, and genitals. And by week 12, the neck is starting to uncurl. The fetus's limbs are completed, and their eyelids are fused, and they're developing ears. Week 12 is the start of the second trimester. The second trimester includes weeks 12 to 28, and in that amount of time, the fetus will develop hair on its head, lung muscles, fingernails, eyebrows, and eyelashes. The sex of the fetus can now be determined, and the fetus will test its digestive system by swallowing amniotic fluid. The fetus can now hear, and will also start moving around. And at week 20, Braxton Hicks will begin, aka practice contractions. Around week 24, the fetus can now open and close its eyes. The third trimester begins at week 28. During these last 12 weeks of pregnancy, the fetus will be increasing its storage fat, the brain will be fully developed, along with its bones and its muscles. The fetus will also start to develop their fingerprints and their footprints. The Braxton Hicks will become a lot stronger in the third trimester, and the fetus will start to move its position head down to the pelvis for birth. When a baby starts its development, it starts with their feet facing the floor, and when they're ready to come out, the baby will reposition itself so that way the head comes out first. When the baby is born, it will reunite with its parents and will be fully developed and perfectly healthy.